So the goal for learning this chapter is to write a narrative paragraph. So you can see that there are various paragraphs, various types paragraphs, narrative paragraphs, process paragraphs, definition paragraphs, causal effect paragraphs, etc. So it's important for you to understand what a narrative paragraph is. Of course, the key word to understand narrative paragraphs is narrative, right? So let's figure out together. What is a narrative? A narrative is piece writing that tells a story. Tells a story. Someone may confuse this with a novel, but it is not a novel. Please remember that we are all talking about academic writing here. So we are talking about a narrative or a narrative paragraph in academic writing. In academic writing, you have to provide logic or evidence or clear evidence. You cannot just write a story based on your imagination. That means even though you are writing a story, you have to provide logic or evidence in it. How do writers usually organize their sentences in their narrative? The answer is very easy and direct. They use time order. They typically present events in the order they happened. Here is a quick trick for you. When you need to write a narrative paragraph, so the number one thing you need to remember that you are going to tell a story. And number two is you need to use time order. Now let's talk about the purpose of a narrative. There are three purposes of a narrative: to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. To inform, literally, is to give information. To persuade is to convince the reader. To entertain is to tell an interesting story. There is one thing you need to pay attention to is that there can be more than one purpose in one narrative. That means there can be one purpose in one narrative, there can be two purposes in one narrative, there can be three purposes in one narrative. Let's check each purpose one by one in more details. The first purpose is to inform. Writers focus on clarity and explanation. They include facts, background information, or context. They define or explain special terms the reader may not know. They keep the tone organized and easy to follow. For example, regular exercise helps people stay healthy and feel more energetic. The author tries to give us the information that regular exercise gives us benefits. It is to inform. It is to deliver some information to us, right? The second purpose is to persuade. Writers use convincing language like clearly, obviously. This shows that they provide reasons and evidence to support their viewpoint. They appeal to the reader's logic, emotions, or values. So, you can trigger your reader's logic, emotions, or values to persuade or convince them. They end with a call to action or strong statement. Here is one example. Everyone should plant trees because they make our environment cleaner and more beautiful. The author tries to persuade us that planting more trees is a good action. He gives us a call to action, right? So it is to persuade. The third purpose is to entertain. Authors may use descriptive words to help readers imagine events. They use words to describe sights, sounds, smells, or feelings. They choose vivid verbs and adjectives such as whispered, thundered, glimmering. They may add dialogue, suspense, or humor to keep readers interested. For example, the children laughed happily as colorful fireworks lit up the night sky. Laughed happily, colorful fireworks lit up the night sky. Those words are descriptive words and they are kind of emotionally charming and touching, right? Because the author's purpose is to entertain us emotionally. Let's summarize these three purposes. To entertain, we make it colorful, emotionally charming. To inform, we make it clear. To persuade, we make it convincing. Let's do one practice. Read the three narratives. Then decide what the main purpose on the narrative is. Remember, we have three purposes: to entertain, to inform, to persuade. Our city opened a new community garden last spring where residents can grow vegetables and flowers together. 2. I will never forget the first day I planted tomatoes in the community garden and met so many friendly neighbors. 3. Every neighborhood should create a community garden because it helps people build friendships and enjoy fresh food. I encourage you to pause this video for a while and think about the answer for each sentence. Let's check the answers together. The first one is to inform. The author gives us one piece of information that a community garden was opened last spring. The second one is to entertain. Look at those words. I will never forget the first day. This is kind of like an exaggeration, and it is very emotionally charming. It is to entertain. The third one is to persuade. Every neighborhood should create a community garden. It is like a call to action. It is to persuade us.